For my project, I decided to make a light that would automatically dim based on the light in the surroundings. So here's my code. First you start with the LED light and then the button. So I made it so if you want to turn the light completely off, even if it is dim in the room, you can do that with the button. And then I used the light sensor, which is the photo cell or the photoresistor. And then this part is for the motor that I use. So here's the setup. I have it at 9,600, and then all of the outputs, the LED pin, and then all of the motor, and then the button is the only input. My loop starts with reading the value from the button, so if you push the button, then the light will turn off and it won't even go through the rest of the loop. If it does not go through the if statement, then it'll go through the else. So the first thing it does is get the sensor reading from the light sensor, and then it prints that to the serial monitor. And because the LED would be the opposite of the photocell, we need to invert it. So you do 1023 minus the sensor reading to get the actual one that we want to convert to LED. But since the sensor goes from 0 to 1023, we need to change it from 0 to 255 to go to the LED. So we analog write the LED to that brightness, delay 500, and then this is our X string that can go into the processing code. And then it goes through the for statement, which will rotate the motor. So one full revolution of the motor would be a 100% bright light, and then 50% would be a half of a rotation, and so on. So here's my circuit. You have the H bridge over here, and then we have the button right here connected to a resistor, the LED connected to a resistor, and then the photocell also connected to a resistor. So my room is about a medium brightness right now, so the light is like a little bit bright. But if I were to cover the photocell as if it were in a dark room, the light would become brighter. But if I were to shine a bright light on the photocell, then the LED light would become much dimmer, as seen right there. So then here is the motor to tell how bright the light is. So if I cover the photocell and the light is very bright, it'll make about a half of a revolution. And then if I release it and the light is medium brightness, it'll make a smaller revolution. And then if I press the button, then the light turns off and the motor does not move. Here is the serial monitor with the raw analog reading, and then when you convert it from 0 to 255. So if I were to cover the photocell, and then the light becomes brighter, you can see by the higher number of the analog, of the number below the analog reading. And then if I were to shine a light on the photocell, then the analog reading becomes higher and the LED number becomes lower. And here's my processing code. First I input an image, which is of a bedroom, so I can show how bright the light is in there. And then in the draw, I input the X value from the Arduino code, and then I draw an ellipse, and it depends on how opaque it is, depends on the number that the LED is receiving. When I run this at the brightness of my room, you can see the light in there is not super bright. But if I were to put my thumb over the photocell, see the brighter light, it would become more opaque. And if I press the button, there's no light there. Thanks for watching.